everybody, it's Miss Kristen here, and this is our second lesson on the liturgical calendar. Now, last week we talked about what is time, how do we keep time? Had you asked these questions throughout the week? Did you come up with any answers? So, we keep time to figure out where we're at, right? We have a clock because it helps us know how far along we are in the day. We have a calendar so we know how far along in the year we are. We use time to track what we're doing, right? So in the church, we track time using the liturgical calendar. Now, the way that the liturgical calendar keeps the seasons is by color, which makes it really, really fun. So we're going to talk a little bit more about what each season is using a 3D liturgical calendar. So let's go and check that out now. Now, what does time look like? Some people think time is this straight line that we are moving forward and we never move back. We just go in a straight line our whole lives. I prefer to believe that time is like a circle. We live in cycles. We're always going through the different seasons. So this is our liturgical calendar in a circle. It looks kind of like a clock, with the 3 clock hands pointing to the most significant days of the year. That would be Christmas, Easter, and Pentecost. Okay, now ask yourself, how many weeks are in one year? Pause me and see if you can tell a friend. If you said 52, you're right. Of course, there is a leap year, but we won't get into that. Now, on this liturgical calendar that I've made, I have 52 magnets. Every single magnet represents a week of the liturgical calendar. Now, the liturgical calendar starts with Advent, which is the 4 weeks leading up to Christmas. This is blue. Then we've got Christmas, which would be the birth of baby Jesus. We head into ordinary time where we let all this sink in. And then we hit Lent. This is purple, and it's 6 weeks leading up to Easter. This is a more serious time in the calendar. After Easter, which is the resurrection of Christ, we have 6 weeks of Easter season and then Pentecost when Jesus comes down to his apostles. And then we have ordinary time all the way until we start at Advent again. So let's break down this calendar and rebuild it together and kind of talk a little bit more about each season. Now, this calendar follows Jesus' life. So the first 4 weeks are blue. They're Advent. It's when we talk about Mary's pregnancy. So this is before Jesus is even born. This is the anticipation, the leading up to Jesus' birth. Now we've got the season of Christmas. This is the week that Jesus is born. In the Catholic tradition, you would actually see a full season of Christmas. So you'd see a few more weeks of white or even yellow. In some liturgical calendars, it's yellow. But we instead here are doing 8 weeks of ordinary time after Jesus' birth. After that 8 weeks of ordinary time, we move into the season of Lent. This is our 6 weeks of our purple season. You guys know it. We usually give something up. We talk a lot about Jesus and his impacts. This is when Jesus dies, and this is a very somber time in the Christian tradition. Now, even though this is a purple season, the last week of the purple season is actually red, and it's called Holy Week, so you might see that in our craft. But it's not the Pentecost season. It's still during the purple season. Now we've got Easter. Easter is white, and like I said, it can also be sometimes yellow in the liturgical calendars that you see. It will be in our craft. And we've got 6 weeks of the Easter season. Jesus has resurrected, but nobody has seen him yet. So we're all kind of like, is he here? Is he not? And we finally lead into Pentecost, where Jesus comes down to his apostles and he says, I am here, go tell the good news. There's a festival going on. They tell everybody. 300 people become Christians that day. And that is why Pentecost and Easter are actually the most important holidays in the liturgical calendar, not Christmas. Pentecost isn't always celebrated in the mainstream, but it is literally the beginning of Christianity. It's what started our religion. After Pentecost, we've got 25 weeks of ordinary time, leading all the way up to Advent again, when we start it all over. Some people think ordinary time is kind of boring, but there's been so much going on in these other parts of the year between the birth of Christ, the death of Christ, the resurrection of Christ, the beginning of Christianity, that this is our time to really digest it all. It's time to let it sink in, maybe have a little bit of a cool off period. This is when we start to end school, enjoy our summertime, start a new school in the fall, and really get settled in. So there's a lot of beauty in the simplicity of the ordinary time. It's our cool down time, and we're really letting Jesus' practices sink in, and we're trying to apply his teachings and be better Christians. So, when you add it all up, you've got 4 weeks of Advent, you've got 1 week of Christmas, 8 weeks of ordinary time, 6 weeks of Lent, 1 week of Easter, 6 weeks of the Easter season, 1 week of Pentecost, and 25 weeks of ordinary time. When you add that all up, you get 52 weeks of the liturgical calendar, 52 weeks of the year. So here is our craft of the week. I've sent your parents links on how to make this, so I hope that you'll make it at home and follow along. And I hope you send in some pictures of what your liturgical calendar looks like. Have a great week, everybody.